We've got to talk about something today that hits incredibly close to home for pretty much all of us at some point. If you've ever found yourself just staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., completely exhausted, but your brain refuses to shut off, then you know exactly what we're digging into today. It's incredibly common, man. It's frustrating, and honestly, it's often totally misunderstood. So today, we're taking a really close look at the relationship between our daily stress and that brutal nighttime restlessness. We're going to break down the actual mechanics of what's happening inside your body when you just desperately want to rest, but your biology just says nope.
So let's look at the reality here. Toss, turn, wake up, repeat. Man, it's a grueling physical experience, isn't it? You finally lie down expecting some relief after a long, stressful day. Your body is beat, maybe even physically aching, but instead of drifting off, you end up in this wrestling match with your own bed sheets. You flip left, you flip right, maybe you drift off for a minute only to just jolt awake again. It's maddening. But here's the thing we need to understand right out of the gate. This frustrating nighttime routine, it isn't random. It is directly tied to the specific, heavy stressors we all face during our waking hours. Because, well, the stress you're carrying around at 2 p.m. doesn't just clock out when you do.
Which leads us to the big question we're answering today. Why can't you sleep when you're stressed? I mean, it sounds like a simple question, but the answer goes way beyond just having a lot on your mind. We beat ourselves up, right? Thinking we just lack discipline or we aren't trying hard enough to wind down. But the truth is actually rooted in hard science. Today, we're going to break down the exact biological mechanics keeping you awake at night. We're moving past the psychology of it all and looking purely at the physiological chain reaction happening right under your skin. Because once you actually understand the biology, you can finally stop fighting yourself and start addressing the real root cause.
Section 1. Meet the alertness hormone, the biological catalyst.
Okay, so let's look at the exact definition of our main culprit here, cortisol. Cortisol is your body's alertness hormone. Think of it as your internal alarm system, and the absolute crucial point right there, it's raised by stress. Stress is the literal trigger. When you hit a stressful situation, like a crazy deadline at work, financial stuff, or a bad argument, your body registers that as a signal that you need to be awake, alert, and ready to go. So it pumps out cortisol. It's a survival mechanism, plain and simple. It's designed to keep you sharp when you need it most.
I actually want to linger on this specific phrase for a second. Stress raises cortisol, your body's alertness hormone. I really want you to internalize this because, honestly, it should offer you a lot of reassurance. When you're lying awake at night feeling totally wired, your body isn't broken. It's not failing you. Actually, it's doing exactly what it was biologically designed to do. It's responding to a signal, stress, by providing the hormone required to keep you alert. The problem isn't the mechanism itself. The problem is just the timing. You basically have a daytime survival response misfiring in the middle of the night.
Section 2. The nighttime brain struggle, when biology sabotages rest.
So on one side, we have what's supposed to happen, right? The brain smoothly switching into sleep mode. The lights go down, the day wraps up, and your biological systems power down to recover. But on the other side, we have our reality when we're stressed. The brain desperately struggling to switch into sleep mode because of high nighttime cortisol. Imagine trying to gently shut down your laptop, but someone keeps aggressively jiggling the mouse. That is exactly what high cortisol is doing to your brain. Your body wants to rest, the clock says it's time to rest, but this lingering alertness hormone is actively fighting the transition. It creates this deeply frustrating friction between what you want to do and what your biology is actually allowing you to do.
And this internal brain struggle manifests in some very specific physical ways. You toss, you turn, you wake up repeatedly. These aren't just annoying quirks, they are the direct physical symptoms of high nighttime cortisol. Your brain is getting totally mixed signals. Part of it is exhausted, trying to pull you under, but that alertness hormone is constantly tapping you on the shoulder, whispering, "Hey man, we're stressed, we gotta stay on guard." So you toss to find some comfort, you turn to try and burn off that wired, nervous energy, you wake up over and over because the cortisol simply won't let you sink into those deep, restorative layers of sleep. Remember, this isn't a personal failure, it is a precise biological reaction.
Section 3. The vicious cycle. How sleep fuels stress. So this whole situation, it's not just a linear sequence where A causes B and then we're done. No, it is a self-feeding continuous loop. Let's walk through it step by step. Step 1, you experience stress during your day. Step 2, that stress leads to high cortisol at night, meaning your alertness hormone stays elevated. Step 3, because of that high cortisol, your brain struggles to shut down, leading to poor sleep. You do the whole toss, turn, wake up routine. And right here is where the loop snaps shut. Step 4, that poor sleep acts as a massive biological accelerant, leading directly to increased stress the very next day. By missing out on that recovery, your body's baseline stress level just shoots up. You wake up already stressed, which essentially guarantees even higher cortisol the next night, which guarantees even worse sleep. You're literally feeding the fire with the exact thing the fire creates.
Let's just sit with that phrase for a second, creating a vicious cycle. It really is the perfect terminology here. It's vicious because it's mechanical, it's unrelenting, and it actively works against your best intentions.
Once you get trapped in this loop, a bad night of sleep isn't just an isolated annoyance anymore. It becomes the very engine generating the next bad night of sleep. And highlighting this overarching trap is super important because it explains why just, hoping for a better night's rest rarely works once this cycle starts spinning.
Section 4. The fallout, compounding damage.
Look, there are 4 distinct critical areas of your life that get hammered by this continuous loop. First up, your energy. This is the most obvious one. You are physically depleted because that foundational recovery process was hijacked by cortisol. Second, your mood. Without proper sleep, your emotional regulation is totally compromised, leaving you irritable and short-tempered. Third, your focus. Your cognitive abilities, your memory, your sharpness, they're all blunted because your brain spent the night fighting an alertness hormone instead of, clearing out the day's mental clutter. And finally, your health. This is the big one. The continuous wear and tear of high stress and poor sleep literally breaks down your immune system and your overall physical well-being. This is the severe fallout of being stuck in the loop.
So, the absolutely crucial takeaway is this. Poor sleep increases stress even more. I want to remind you of this core mechanical tragedy one last time. The actual consequence of the problem, the poor sleep, creates more of the catalyst. It's like compounding interest, but for exhaustion. You aren't just losing sleep, you're actively generating the fuel for tomorrow's anxiety. And understanding this biological fact is the very first necessary step to actually fixing it. You have to recognize that this loop is not going to break itself.
So I want to leave you with this question to chew on. How is the cortisol loop impacting your energy, your mood, and your health today? Take a really hard look at your own habits. Are you tossing and turning all night and then wondering why your focus is completely shot by 2 p.m. the next afternoon? Are you blaming your bad mood on your personality when, hey, it might just be biology caught in a relentless cycle? The science is crystal clear here. Stress raises the alertness hormone, destroying your rest, which only breeds more stress. Recognizing this loop in your own life is the absolute key to finally stepping out of it. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this gives you the clarity you need to finally get some solid rest.